Who am I? My name is Navil. I was born March 7th in Panama, Central America. I have one sister. Her name is also Navil. I'm the oldest, and this is my story of how I came to Montreal. Let's begin with the start. My roots and my blood lineage. It comes with a heavy karma, a lot of suffering, but a lot of breakthroughs. As a child, I always wanted to entertain. I loved dancing. I loved singing. I was always a weird child. Because of my background at home, I was always an outsider. Teachers even thought that I was autistic. I recall my first memories from childhood to be hard. I recall that suddenly everything became black. I recall my childhood and teenage years to be difficult. I graduated when I was 18. I must admit that finding a direction was confusing. I didn't have any guidance, so I went to work, got into college, and tried many times to finish. Long time for me to graduate. It took like 6 or 7 years for me to finally gain some direction on what I wanted to do. And so after I finished school, I went directly to work when I was 18. And it wasn't until I was like 23 years old that I started working in finance. I worked in finance for 7 years in a Swiss company, an asset management company. And that was very interesting. That was very good for me because also I was in like an international environment, which helped me to grow up and learn new skills. So I was like, okay, this is good and I can also do it. And this is the moment where I gained some perspective and when I gained some direction on what I wanted to do. And I realized that, okay, I need to finish university. It is important. It is important because it's something to back you up, and also education is never a waste. I feel that now education is super important, but back then I didn't understood the importance of it, because I was the first one in my family to ever have a university degree. And so yeah, that was that. And in these 7 years that I worked in finance, I gained lots of experience. I went from being an administrative assistant to being part of the board of the company as a secretary. So that was very good. And so I was able to save up money and to create the life that I wanted to have in the future. And now I feel that everything is possible, and now I know that I am able to build a life the way that I wanted to, that I can overcome all the hardships in my life. Then suddenly the world stopped. COVID-19 had an impact in everyone in rethink life, and it was in this moment when I think to myself that I needed a change. That I needed to take a chance for the little kid in me. But I was to a friend. She told me that she had also plans to come to Montreal. And she said like, hey, there's this university. It's named Trevas, and they have something interesting that could interest you, which was audio and video post-production. And so I went to the seminar. It was online. I really liked it. I was like, wow, it's very cool. And I fell in love with Montreal. But coming here was actually not hard. It was not a hard decision. It was an easy decision for me. And the process was actually very smooth. Everything worked out, I would say, very well. It was only the fact that to find the courage to come here, because in my family you were not allowed to have those big dreams. You were only allowed to do normal things that normal Panamanian families do. But I always had big dreams as a child. I always wanted to do something bigger. And even in all the bad things, I always kind of knew that I was going to be able to make them. So December 31st, 2021, I took a plane and I arrived to Montreal January 1st, 2022. The first quarter of the 2022, when I arrived to Montreal, were very hard. I had in mind I would find a job, I would receive my scholarship payment right away, but it took 3 months, like everything else done with the government in Panama. The cold was extreme and the loneliness was extreme. I felt like a stranger in a strange place. Everything was new and I had to change and adapt. And changes can be very hard. But I was lucky to find love during this time. This person is my best friend and the kindest person I have ever met in my life. And it makes me feel very lucky. When I know that today I know how to use sound programs, animation programs, and editing programs, it's absolutely wild to me. And that 7-year-old Navil that lost her confidence because she was abused and very neglected, that little kid in me healed, gained her confidence back. And even though it's a long road, we are in the right path.
Get to make a little money.